Hi, I'm Nikita Andreev. I've been playing piano for about 5 years now. I also started learning guitar last year. I can sing a little bit as well. I can read and write sheet music, but I mainly consider myself an audio engineer or a music producer or a songwriter. Oh yeah, as for the DAWs I use, I'm actually familiar basically inside and out with Ableton Live. I'm pretty familiar with Pro Tools, not as familiar as Ableton Live though. I used FL Studio for a number of years, but almost all of my most recent work has actually been done in Reaper. But I'm still pretty comfortable working in most of the common DAWs. So because of the scope of all the things that I do, this video might turn out a bit long. I'm going to try my best to make it as short as possible. This video will be edited, but anytime I have an instrument in my hands, I will not be editing that part of the video. I'll start by playing two pieces on piano. The first one is, as far as intermediate level songs go, it's quite brutally difficult. I started learning that song because I'm a big fan of the composer, and I just wanted to challenge myself, but honestly, I'm in a little bit over my head. Anyway, you'll see. The second song is much easier. It's an excerpt from an original composition. After that, I'm going to play an excerpt from Blackbird on guitar. It's probably not going to be very good. Again, I only started playing last year, or actually a little bit less than that. I'm also going to be using my own picking pattern. It's not easier, it's just different. I don't know if that's a cardinal sin for musicians or not. I'm self-taught, so I wouldn't know. And then to finish the video off, I'll show a project in Ableton Live, but please stick around after that because I'll show two projects in Reaper that I think are much more interesting and will much better demonstrate what I can do now. I think that's all. That being said, piano. It's over there. right, so here's the project in Ableton Live. I think I made this one a couple years ago. This one's actually, okay, let me show it. This one's actually an orchestral project. The way I wrote it was I started by playing this live. I started by playing that live on a keyboard, and the way I wrote that was I was thinking about like a 3/4 polyrhythm, so like that, and I was like, okay, well, let's play chords with that polyrhythm, and then I was like, okay, well, let's play it on woodwinds. Yeah, and then I sort of just built stuff on top of it until I got this. All right, and that's it. Yeah, it's B minor A G, and then there's some development in the middle, and then it just goes back to B minor A G for the chorus. This isn't my first orchestral project. I've done a few in the past. There isn't anything really special going on here. The mix is quite lackluster. I made this project like two or 3 years ago. Yeah, it must have been like 3 years ago. Yeah, that's all. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is a piece of original music that I wrote, that I produced, that I ran the recording sessions for, that I mixed, that I mastered, that I wrote all the lyrics for. I performed vocals on it, and I performed piano on it. There's also an electric guitar that's actually a session player. It was my dad. And right, the drums and the bass were recorded by my peers. Right, yeah. So this song was recorded as part of Square One BC, the ACIT program in Burnaby, the one run by Kevin Alt. So yeah, actually I ran a lot of the recording sessions that year. I mixed 3 songs on the album. One of them was mine, 2 of them were my friends. I also mastered the whole album. Actually, one of the tracks was mixed and mastered by a professional as a reference, but the rest of the album was given to me. That's the second project that I'm going to show. It's the album master. Actually, I think I'm the only person in the 15 years that program has existed that finished the course with 100%. You can ask Kevin Alt about that. Anyway, I'll just play the track now. City sounds obscured by silence. People sleep without a care. You ask me if I remember calling out to deep nowhere. Now I'm calling for you from forgotten hills. Let's see, did I miss anything? Well, I guess there's one glaring issue here. The S's are very lispy. I don't remember what caused that or what, but like, you know, deadlines. I didn't have the time to fix it. There's a lot of really interesting and really dubious stuff that I was experimenting with in this mix. Let's see. Oh, right, I had some really interesting stuff like this. Here's a multi-band gate that I was using on the snare. I think this is what, snare top? Yeah, snare top. Keep in mind there's a huge delay because I'm not on ASIO drivers right now. I can't like screen record and all that with ASIO drivers. Yeah, anyway. Actually, okay, wait, let me explain. So the reason that I did a multi-band gate was because I was having a hell of a time trying to do it with just a regular gate. I had tons of automation just everywhere, just trying to desperately reduce the bleed from the other kit pieces. Like in my snare, I had a lot of kick drum. In this case, a multi-band gate basically completely eliminated the bleed issue. All right, let's go to the electric guitar. The electric guitar is very strange. I was experimenting with a sort of fake double tracking technique that I made up. I heard about bands like the Beatles doing like a fake double tracking technique, like in like the 70s or 80s, or no, like the 60s or 70s, I guess. Yeah, it would be. Anyway. And so I tried to sort of replicate it in a DAW. I didn't know how it was done. I was just guessing. Basically, my hypothesis was they had two tape machines with the like left and right sort of double tracked signals, except both the signals were the same. It was just a single mono recording on two different tape machines. And they would like push on the flanges of the reels differently to get the speed to change differently between the two. You can hear that technique on a lot of their records. And so I was trying to do the same thing, but like with more steps. So I have a bunch of all-pass filters here. They don't affect frequency response, they only affect phase response. And they're being randomly modulated, their Q factor, their frequency. Each step is the same for both channels, but of course the random modulation is different. I also have extremely subtle, vanishingly subtle pitch modulation. You can't even see it here. This noise is for sidechain. This is actually a VST instrument technically, but I'm using it in the middle of an effects chain for sidechain. Now isn't that cool? That's something you can't do in any other DAW. It's sidechain for this. Now, I didn't know at the time, but I'm pretty sure Soothe is actually a linear phase device. I assumed that it was minimum phase. It still works, just not nearly as well as I was hoping, because it's only modulating the frequency content and not the phase content as I was hoping. But it works. It's... oh yeah, I didn't do this just for the hell of it. I mean, I kind of did, but I was running low on time, deadline, you know how it is. And so I was like, okay, I don't have time to do a bunch more takes to like make another comp for double tracking. So I'm just going to try this like fake double tracking that I heard about. The song actually isn't mastered here in this project. I mastered it together with the rest of the album in another project. In this project, I mastered the whole album except for this song that's yellow that I didn't master. That went away to a professional mix and master engineer so that I could have it as a reference. I mixed this song, and this song here. A lot of these songs are very different from each other. Like here you have something like... And then you have like...
Like liquid gold thorns on a picture perfect rose. I swear you've never looked this good. One touch was all it took.
Yeah, and then you also have like... Yep, and also...
How many times must I play the villain before you leave?
This song's actually probably my favorite on the album. The mix could be better. I was giving feedback for the mixes, but this guy actually, unfortunately, flew, I think, for a vacation in South Korea, and so we weren't able to get like the last couple revisions done. A little bit of multiband compression, lots and lots and lots of automation. A lot of these tracks have quite a lot of automation on them. Oh yeah, look at these. Oh boy. It's to automate stuff like EQ, sometimes individual bands, sometimes whole EQs. Like some of these songs have like 3 different EQs on them, all active and like all being automated. A lot of the musicians in that course, it was like their first time making like a full song, and so their mixes weren't very good. So there was quite a lot of work that needed to be done to make the album sound remotely cohesive. I mean, also just the songs are so different from each other. It's kind of a fool's errand, but overall it's a nice album. It was a really good experience. I learned a lot. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you for your time. I'll see you at school. Hopefully.